Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some consequences for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Snatched and wrangled by yours truly. Originally posted to r/malicious compliance by Octohand. Threatened to sue me? Go for it. First time posting here, had a hard time deciding what subreddit to post this story to. Please let me know if this story is more appropriate somewhere else. Also, English isn't my native language, but here it goes. Backstory. I have a 5-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We broke up about 2.5 years ago. We had some ups and downs during our marriage. We never argued or fought per se, but we did negotiate a lot with strong emotions and opinions. Yet, we always managed to find some common ground to stand on together. That's why it kind of caught me by surprise when she told me she wanted a divorce. I cried for a couple days, went fishing, and then started planning on how to figure things out. Because neither of us had enough income at that point to keep our car and our house, we agreed that I should take care of selling the car, and we should get a realtor to start selling our home. Well, it turns out I had to do both. Anyway, we had more debt than money, and she tried to leave all the debt to me while she would start from a clean slate. I wouldn't let her, and I made sure everything we owned and every bit of debt would be split evenly. We agreed that our daughter would live with both of us, splitting the time evenly, as our daughter had the right to having 2 parents. We promised each other to act civil. This didn't last long. We also had agreed that since our salaries were pretty even, neither of us would pay child support. We also agreed that she would take care of buying most of the clothes, etc. for our kid, since she would get the child benefit, about €100 a month here in Finland, paid by the government to support raising offspring. After the breakup, she started mail ordering new furniture for herself, even before she had found a new apartment for herself. Kind of obvious, but she didn't really have the money for it either. 2 weeks later, she moved out. A week later, I heard from our kid that she had a new man. I didn't really care, just raised some eyebrows. She would often call in sick to her work, usually BS reasons, and when her boss gave some feedback, she didn't fix her attitude, but instead, she just quit. She applied to a school and got in. After about 2 months, she quit the school too, and started demanding me to pay child support. We got a professional to weigh in and agreed that I still wouldn't pay a dime to her because she herself had caused her income to collapse. As a goodwill act, I offered to pay for our daughter's insurance. I thought the matter was settled, but then she got pregnant with her new man a few months after our breakup. After our divorce was final, there's a 6-month reconsideration time before the judge calls it, she married her new man. These things empowered her in demanding for money again and again and again. So now that you know what kind of person we're dealing with, the case. Last fall, she yet again demanded money to support our kid. She was working again, and I knew she used our kid as an excuse because she had expressed envy towards my ability to control my finances to a point that even when I had the same amount of money, I could eat in restaurants, etc. I told her that if she needed child support for legitimate reasons, I would, of course, help. But all the expenses would have to be calculated properly to know the right amount she would need. Instead, she demanded I would pay her €200 a month, and she would take care of all the expenses regarding our daughter. She didn't have any real reasons for the demand, other than her need for control. She had always been someone who wanted to have the last say in things. On top of her demand, this time she threatened to sue me if I didn't pay her. I pretty much laughed at this until I got a message from her lawyer. At that point, I messaged my ex, telling her, from now on, I would only discuss this matter via our lawyers and started looking for a lawyer myself. During the next couple months, things started to look really bad for her case. After getting the papers from the court, I noticed her case was based on false data. She and her lawyer hadn't asked for my income and expenses before they sued me, and she had estimated my income to be a lot more than it actually was. Also, my expenses were estimated to be smaller than actual. At this point, I messaged my ex and asked if she's sure she doesn't want to settle. She didn't. So I decided to go with some malicious compliance and didn't try again. After we both calculated every income and expense of both parties, with the help of our lawyers, I and my lawyer confirmed that she had enough money to raise our kid, Not only that, it turned out she actually had more money than me for it. Monthly income minus living costs, medicine, etc., etc. I burst out laughing at the absurdity of her case, even more so when she tried to twist things to her favor by sending false evidence to us and the judge, which we noticed instantly. A couple days go by and my lawyer calls me. She had gotten a call from my ex's lawyer saying he had noticed my ex is lying and the whole case is based on lies, and the lawyer wants to settle. It looked like my MC, main complaint, I think, wouldn't go through until my lawyer got a message that for some reason they won't settle after all. Game on. The judgment. We went to court. The judge was annoyed but composed. He asked my ex's lawyer about their demands. The lawyer started by saying, "First, I'm going to tell a bit of the backstory," and the judge cut him off, telling him to just state the demands. After a few seconds of silence, the lawyer told the judge, "No demands." The judge was both dumbfounded and livid, asking, "Then why are we here?" To which my lawyer said something along the lines of, "That's what we're asking too." Then the judge asked my ex's lawyer, "To be clear, didn't you want to settle?" And the lawyer sheepishly told the judge that my ex wouldn't agree to settle. They were so embarrassed. It was so glorious, like some kind of divine karma being served right at my Karen of an ex. The judge ordered us to go to a meeting room for 20 minutes and to come back with a settlement agreement. Because she had more money, we negotiated that she would pay for our kids' hobbies, insurance, etc. to compensate for the difference. The judge verified it, and my party left the courtroom very happy. My ex, on the other hand, was balancing between being angry and embarrassed. The fallout. A couple weeks ago, my ex demanded that we would make changes to the schedule on how our kid would swap homes. I declined, saying we have an agreement. She threatened to sue me, to which I just reminded her about the last time she wanted to get what she wants by suing me, asking if she really wants to do it again. She got mad, and I just ignored it. About a week ago, she sent me a message saying that she had a fight with her husband. Police were called because she attacked him, and she wanted a divorce. The police had to inform Child Protective Services since there were kids present, mine included. Basically, her whole life has gone down the drain. 2 kids, 2 different fathers, 2 divorces, before she's even turned 30. A lot of debt and expenses, and looks like our kid will be spending the majority of her time at my place, which is what our kid has wanted for the past 2-ish years. Too long didn't read, ex-wife wanted money for BS reasons and sued me. If you want to sue me over BS, be prepared for your life to turn into BS. Also, now you have to pay more than half of our kids' expenses. Honestly, OP, I think the divorce was probably one of the best things that could have happened to you. Also, it takes a very special kind of idiot to attempt to sue someone and walk out of the courtroom with the exact opposite of your demands. You wanted more money? Well, you're now paying more money. You had multiple opportunities to walk away, and instead you chose to full barrel this under false assumptions without having all your evidence in front of you. And, now you've actually got more on your table and more on your plate. Whoopsie whoopsie. Like, come on, how did you not think that one through? Also, did I read that right that she was the aggressor when she attacked her husband and now they're getting a divorce? Like, she attacked him and she wanted a divorce. So, yeah, OP dodged a bullet, and I definitely hope that he's able to maintain custody of his child. Also, of course, again, you might want to look into getting therapy for your daughter because witnessing that definitely can leave a lasting impact. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original OP is Existing Attempt 972, posted March 4th, 2024. My dad is trying to force my uncontrollable stepsister on my trip, and I told him I'd never forgive him. I, 17 female, am graduating, and my friends and I have already planned a trip to a cabin for the summer before we start college. I've been a babysitter since I was 13, so I've saved up a considerable amount of money. When I was 15, my dad got remarried about a year and a half after my mom passed away. My dad's wife had a 13-year-old daughter, and as soon as we moved in together, they started to push her off on me and force us to do everything together. I don't like my stepsister. She's always throwing tantrums if she doesn't get what she wants. She's spoiled to the point that at my 16th birthday, she got her own special cake so she wouldn't feel left out. And she also blew out the candles on my cake. And when I complained, my dad told me, "It's time to grow up. Being a sister is about sharing things." I told him I didn't have a sister, and I guess she overheard, and she went on a rampage. The party was ruined. I distanced myself more from them after that. I'm forced to either take her with me to places or stay home with her if I can't take her, or my dad or dad's wife can't watch her, or don't want to deal with her. Imagine everything that I said she does with my dad and his wife onto a 15 to 17-year-old me. I was forced to take her bowling with me, and she would not stop trying to dig her hands in the part where the balls come out, and she tried running down the lane, so I had to take her home, and my night was ruined. This happens a lot, but they don't care. I have tried to keep this trip a secret from her, but when I was in my room on the phone talking about it over pizza and music, I found out she snuck in and hid in the closet and was eavesdropping. She burst out asking if she could come, and I told her no, and to get out. She started stomping her feet and she ran out. My friends begged me to not invite her. My dad called me downstairs and asked if she could go because she could use a vacation, and I told him I'm not taking her. They can take her on a vacation, but I'm not watching her for almost 3 weeks alone. My dad's wife called me selfish and that my dad was paying for a portion of it anyway, and if Lily doesn't go, then I don't get to go. I told her she doesn't get a say in any of this. She's not my mom, and to stop forcing her child on me when she created what she is. Lily starts yelling at me about not being a big sister, and I don't want to spend time with her. I snap and tell her I don't. She ran away crying, and my dad said he won't pay for the rest of my trip if I don't take her. So I told him, if he does that, I will not be talking to him anymore, nor will I forgive him for it. He said I'm being dramatic and she isn't bad. So I grabbed a bag and went to my aunt's house, my mom's sister, and told her what happened, and she said she would put up what he took away, and when I go to college, I can stay with her. I told my dad what I was doing, and he blew up at me and said I was being a brat, and they're my family now, and not my aunt. As far as I know, she does not have any disabilities. She's been to doctors and therapy. She's just insanely spoiled, and that's how she's always gotten her way when told no. The first time I met her, everyone agreed on Mexican except her, and she was yelling in the car for 10 minutes before she calmed down by her mom appeasing her. Then she goes back on her phone, texting. If she does, then that explains why she acts that way, and I can take it that she can't help it, but I still shouldn't be forced to watch her 24/7. Relevant comments. Commenter. Your aunt is acting more of a family than your dad. I agree. See if you can live with your aunt now. Are you dependent on your dad for college? Hope he responds. I am not. My mom left me money for 2 years. I decided to do an RN program and then go back once I work and save up more money. Commenter. If you're being truthful about Lily's behavior, it sounds like she has some sort of emotional or intellectual impairment. Has she had a formal diagnosis? Opie responds, no, she's just extremely spoiled and acts like this to get her way. She knows she just has to cry a bit and stomp around and they'll give in. To another commenter, she does not have any mental problems, she's just spoiled. She's been to doctors and therapy. Opie responding to a deleted and downvoted commenter. I don't have, nor did I want a sister. It's not even like they tried to slowly bring us together. They forced her on me. She constantly throws tantrums, so if any small thing is about me, she needs to be the center of attention. She may be a child, but she is not my child, and I shouldn't have had to become a parent because of my dad's wife's lack of parenting. Commenter, how far away from 18 are you? I would slowly start moving important things to your aunt's house and then move in the day you turn 18. Make sure you let your school know not to contact your dad anymore, and that you're living with your aunt. Opie responds, I turn 18 in September. I have read the comments and I am making lists of everything I need to get and put at my aunt's house. OP on being the bigger person. I don't have to be the bigger person. I'm tired of being neglected and having her forced on me. I'm going on this trip without her, and if that ends up with me not talking to my dad anymore, so be it. He's the adult and parent here. The duality of Reddit. A few months ago, we had a post of someone saying they were parentified because they had to do basic chores and babysit on the night their grandparents died. And then on the other hand, we have someone who is actively being parentified and being told to be the bigger person. Woo! God damn. Update post, August 30th, 2024, almost 6 months later. I know a lot of people wanted an update to my last post. I can't post a link, so you can go to my profile to see it. The trip happened, and I did not end up taking her, like I said I wasn't. From the time that I posted that up until the time that I left, The household was very tense and awkward. I was not speaking to any of them. The only person I had to confide in and talk to, my aunt. And I'm so grateful for her. My dad still thought I was going to bring her on the trip, and I kept telling him that I am not watching her and she is not coming with me. The morning of the trip, we left at like 6 in the morning. When he called me, I was already about 5 hours out, so he couldn't do anything. When I got back, it was a lot of yelling and crying from me and my dad and his wife. She said that I left him in a tough position and they had to stay home because they couldn't get anyone to watch Lily. My dad and I had a serious talk for hours and he agreed that maybe we need to separate so we can work on our relationship. Which hurt me because I would have liked for him to tell me I can stay in my own home while we do it. But I did end up going to my aunt's house with no issues. My dad and I started family therapy with just the two of us. His wife was pretty upset he was actually listening to me and was seeing where I was coming from. Right when we were getting good and building a better relationship, I came over for dinner and he asked if we could integrate his wife and Lily into therapy, and I told him that I had no interest in having a relationship with them. She called me a selfish cunt and that I needed to be grateful that she let me stay with them after she moved in. I waited for my dad to correct her, and he was silent pretty much, so I left and I haven't talked to him in almost a month. He keeps showing me that he will not be on my side. So, to wrap things up, the cabin trip was so much fun. I've never felt so free from a burden. The trip was in June, and we were there for almost a month. We extended it. When I was packing for school, my dad came to visit, and I guess his wife called and he had to lie about where he was because I guess she doesn't want him to see me. So I told him, we don't need to have contact right now or continue therapy because it's clear which part of his family he cares more about. I don't know what's going to become of my dad, and right now, I don't care. I'm focused on school and studying to become a nurse. I don't want any negativity to ruin this experience, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't hurt that I don't have a parent to experience this with. But my aunt says she's my surrogate mom and to share all my worries and success with her. I am currently in my first week of college and the amount of freedom I feel here is also so new. I'm a little overwhelmed, but I am in an honors club. I also am in a creative writing/book club, and the friends I've made are so amazing. I'm currently living on campus, and I have never been better mentally. I'm getting separate therapy to deal with my mom's death because that was never offered to me by my dad. My aunt has truly become a mother figure to me. Being 2 states away from her is really hard, but I can't wait for weekend visits and holiday visits. Also, another thing is that I'm going to be a godmother. My aunt was told at 22 that she would never be able to have kids, and she's currently 4 months pregnant, and I'm so excited because if anybody is going to be a good mother, I know it's going to be her. When she came to visit and tell me, I think she saw I was a little worried. I told her I'm so excited and happy for her, and nothing will change that, but she's the only family I have right now and don't want to get left behind like I did at home. And we cried, and she promised me that she was filling in for my mom, and that she will be there for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not. I'm planning the baby shower, and I can't wait for the baby to be here. But yeah, that's it. Thanks y'all for checking up on me and giving me encouraging words. Relevant comments. Commenter. I just don't understand how your dad doesn't see that Lily is a massive problem. If they have to hire a babysitter at her age of being 15, and they were stuck at home with her as a result. Opie responds, he doesn't want to see it, or he does, and cares more about keeping his wife happy. Commenter. Also, what do you write about in this writer's club? Opie responds, bring in work you have written and share it. Write flash fiction from the same prompt, write poems, watch videos or lectures about writing techniques, talk about writing contests or places to submit stories. We're talking about incorporating improv so we can be creative that way with our stories. Commenter. Downvoted. I feel like you should have set some better boundaries instead of just giving up. You need to lay it out for him. Do you really think she's good for your life if she's keeping you away from your daughter? Are you really a man and a father? If you're going to let a woman dictate what you can and can't do, what the fuck is this? I would tell him straight up, you don't have the luxury of giving up because you made me. So I would appreciate if you get a goddamn backbone and start acting like it. Opie responds, "That's fair, and I respect your opinion, but it's not my job to try and fix anything or set boundaries anymore. We did talk about it in therapy, and he still tried to integrate them into the sessions when I have expressed hundreds of times, I do not want that, so I'm done trying. I'm the child in this situation." That final little sentence from OP really just hits the nail in right there. A lot of editors seem to forget the fact that they're putting the onus on repairing the relationship on the child here, the 17-year-old, and not the grown-ass man who's chosen his wife and her spoiled daughter over his own daughter. His wife literally told his daughter that she allowed her to be in her home, despite the fact that she's the one who moved in. And he just sat with that. And his silence speaks volumes, that he agrees. She told the 17-year-old that she was lucky that as a minor, she was allowed to stay in her father's home. He is going to spend the rest of his life wondering how he can get his daughter back after he decided to nuke that relationship from orbit as he deals with Lily, the 15-year-old who's going to continue to grow and still be ever dependent on her family and ever spoiled. The fact that she has everything going for her and she cannot be trusted to be left alone for a few hours at night at the age of 15 is crazy, which does make me wonder if Lily's mom is the type of parent where nothing's wrong with my baby's perfect. And then upon hearing an autism diagnosis thinks, my baby is not broken. Not realizing an autism diagnosis doesn't mean that it's broken goods, it's just, yeah, it's the special edition. Or any other potential diagnosis that Lily may have gotten, but the mother rolled her eyes and said, I'm gonna get a 14th opinion. Which if that's the case, that's horrible for Lily because she's not getting the help she needs. And rather than actually doing anything about it, they've just dumped the onus entirely onto OP. Oh, OP will be able to babysit for us and take care of all of this. Won't be our problem, we can just sweep it under the rug. Not realizing that OP eventually is gonna have to move out of the house. Then what? They couldn't survive a month without OP without having to cancel their plans. What's gonna happen while she's at college, huh? This post was collected by Deleted. The original OP is The Ant Wonder 1, posted on r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance if I see her friend again, I'm calling the cops? Me, 29 male, and Erica, 27 female, dated for 2 years and have been engaged for the last 4 months. After we got engaged, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage while she pays for utilities, groceries, and household items. After we get married, the plan is to put her on the house so she gets equity as well. Her friend, Leah, or Leah? It says it could be either. 27 female, and her have been best friends since high school. I don't particularly like Leah, but have also been cordial, as I know she's gonna be in my life. My issue is Leah thinks of my home as hers. Couple examples. She always brings her boyfriend over, and he's a sketchball. She talks to me in a very disrespectful way in my own house, like I'm a guest and she/Erica owns it. One day I went out to my garage and some of my tools were missing. I checked my camera, and Leah/boyfriend were in my garage with Erica and took some tools with them. I asked Erica, and she said they were just borrowing and would return them. I had to reach out multiple times for them to finally return the tools weeks later. I have a nice wine/liquor collection, and I was working late one Friday. While working, I heard some clanking of bottles together. Erica wasn't home, so I went out to see what was up. Leah was behind my bar. I asked her what she was doing, and she said that Erica told her it was okay to borrow a bottle of wine for her party, and that she would pay it back. I told her, no, that wasn't all right, and to leave. I asked Erica about this, and she said, I don't remember telling Leah she could take a bottle, but I might have. I don't remember. I told her at this point I wasn't comfortable with Leah being at my house. Erica sort of understood, but also blew me off. Final straw came when I wanted to go hit some golf balls and my clubs were missing. Those can be expensive. I freaked out because I golf regularly and my clubs are my biggest investment. Went to check the camera again and Leah used my garage code and took my clubs. I blew up, called Erica and told her to get them back immediately. Erica said Leah had asked for the garage code to grab some clothes from her closet and not my clubs. I threatened to call the police, but Erica stopped me. Leah kept telling us that her boyfriend needed them for a work thing. I got them back almost 4 days after they were taken, and they were dirty. At this point, I sat Erica down and told her that if I see Leia in my house again, then I'm calling the cops. No discussion. Erica got upset, saying that it's her best friend and that wasn't fair to do in our house. I said it's a pattern, and since Erica's stuff isn't affected, she doesn't care. I said she can go over to Leia's if she wants to see her. She said she can't do this because Leia doesn't like her apartment and Leia's boyfriend is always there, which makes Erica uncomfortable. I'm now getting the silent treatment and getting called an asshole, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Am I the asshole? Update added to the first post. I want to thank you all for the kind words and comments. I knew after reading the comments that it was time to come to a resolution. I decided to drive home from work and talk with Erica. When I showed up, Leia's car was parked in the driveway. I went inside and they were watching TV. I told Leia to immediately get out. She tried to argue, but I told her if she didn't, then I'm calling the police. Erica tried to get pissy that I kicked her friend out, but I said I'm done talking about Leia because at this point, nothing is changing with that relationship. Sat Erica down and showed her this post. 20 minutes of reading later, I asked her what she thought. She said, "Those people don't understand our relationship or Leia." I knew then that it was over. I asked her to hold out her hand, and I took the ring off. She begged, saying she's sorry, and she'll cut Leia off, etc. I told her I can't even trust her with the garage code. How am I supposed to trust her as my wife? She's locked herself in our room now. I'm in the kitchen packing up her things. I called her dad/mom, telling them about what has happened, and they were furious. Leia is apparently banned from their house and has been since high school. I didn't know this, but her parents said it's been like this since high school. They're coming this weekend to get Erica and the stuff. I couldn't be happier than I am right now. A huge weight feels lifted off my shoulders. I felt like if I never made this post, I wouldn't have ever seen how messed up my life had become. Sincerely, thank you everyone. Can't wait to take my clubs out and play around now that I have more free time. Really excited to see what single life brings, and can't thank you all enough again. The cherry on top is the fact that Leia, or the 5 other ways I pronounced it throughout the post, is banned from the parents' house and has been since high school. This isn't just like new behavior, this is ongoing behavior that Erica has been very aware of, and continues to put up with it for some reason. Not to mention, depending on how much money you've actually invested into your golf clubs, just randomly swiping someone's golf clubs after getting access to their garage code and lying about your intentions, that can very, 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 very quickly get into grand theft territory like that. I don't play golf, but my dad does, and I see how much he cares about, his golfing utilities or tools or, sports equipment? Equipment, that's the word I'm looking for. And just having someone show up and take them without asking for permission and lying about their original intentions, that's crazy. And Erica was mad at OP for being mad about his golf clubs being swiped, let alone tools or bottles of wine. Just so much shit that she just helps herself to because, I'm Erica's friend and, I'm gonna do this anyways. If I was working from home and I heard someone in my kitchen and stepped out to find my significant other's best friend just helping themselves to my alcohol when no one invited them in, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing here? This actually reminds me of when I was like 5 years old, the neighbor's kid that I had to deal with. I've probably told this story before, but when I was 5, my mom's neighbor's son was a bastard. That's right, I'm swinging hands at the child who can't defend himself, but fuck it, he deserves it. So, he was the kind of kid where he would ask for my toys and whatnot, and then be like, oh, you won't give this to me? I'm telling on you then. And me, being 5 and not knowing better and not wanting to get in trouble, let him have things. And I was like, shit, I don't want to get in trouble because I wasn't sharing my things. So yeah, he walked out with a bunch of my things, and they were minor trinkets and whatnot, so nothing important. But eventually, 5 years old, my mom found on eBay the 6 original Bo-Rock from Bionicle. Big deal for me. Waiting a month for Bionicles to show up to the house feels like an eternity as a 5-year-old. That was an insane amount of time waiting for a Christmas present that was late because the shipper didn't ship it out. So, when they finally arrived, me being me of course, I assembled all 6 of them in a single hour and was super excited about it. Kid came over, saw that I had 6 of them, said it was unfair that I had 6 and he didn't have any. Wanted Ko-Rock, the ice Bo-Rock from me. Now, for those of you who don't know, the ice Bionicles are oftentimes the coolest. I mean, just look at the Baraki, the Rakshi, Kopaka, Krika. Tons of cool Bionicles that were all ice-themed. Although, Krika and then also, what's the Baraki's one name? I think it's Pridak. Anyways, those ones had, blood on them, which was an insane thing for a Bionicle to have. But anyways, Bionicle always had the coolest ice ones. No idea why. Anyways, he wanted Korok. And for the first time, I was like, nah, I'm not giving you Korok. That's Korok. Like, no, dude. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna tell your mom. And this time, I did not buckle or bend. I was determined to keep Korok. So we went to my mom and complained. My mom was like, no, can't have him. What the hell? That's his. And oh, the look on his face when he realized his ploy was no longer gonna work. That was a pretty pivotal moment for me. Hey, still remember that? And I was reminded of it from this because, people who just help themselves to your shit. And I'm left wondering if Erica remained friends with Leia or Leah or whatever the hell her name is or how you pronounce it. I feel like she probably buttered Erica the hell up every time that would happen and made her feel really good about sharing to the point where it was just extremely toxic and unhealthy. If you could even really call it sharing. Anyways, that's a theory on my end. OP, I think, made the right decision, and the line of, how can I trust you as my wife when I can't trust you with the garage code is, that's spot on. Collected and snaggled by me! And posted to r/best of by In a Dusty Corner. The original OP is Dandelion Plant. Posted to r/True Off My Chest, July 2nd, 2023. I ruined my parents' relationship over reading mail. I, 24 female, don't want to say what I do for work, but let's just say it's the type of job that includes a lot of written letters from clients that are supposed to be confidential and only for my eyes. I'm fresh out of college and living with my parents so I can finish paying off school. My work letters, of course, go to my parents' address since they live miles away from a post office, and driving to a P.O. box is a huge pain. The issue started with my father. Ever since high school, when I received mail, my dad would open it. Whenever I received Christmas/birthday cards in the mail with money in them, my dad would hand me the card and insist he'll keep the money safe from me until I demand he hand it over. Any package I would order for myself, he would open and hand me. Sometimes the products were used by him as well. The final straw was when he received my acceptance letter to my dream college, and instead of waiting for me to come home to open it, he opened it himself and called me while I was at work to congratulate me. I've spoken to my mother about how much this makes me feel uncomfortable, and she told me she'd speak to my father about it, to which he would apologize and not do it for a week before doing it again the next week. I also had spoken to my dad about the confidentiality of the mail I would be receiving now that I'm working, and he says he understands, but it all came crashing down a few weeks ago. While I was working, my dad came into my room and handed me opened envelopes from my clients and even tried to have a conversation about it with me, but I just ignored him until he got the hint and left. After work, I yelled at him for violating client confidentiality, to which he got defensive and said that I live in his house and any mail sent to his house would be read by him. Furious, that next week, I thought I would take revenge on my father by going to the mailbox and reading his mail. But what I found was what ended my relationship with him. I had found credit card statements on jewelry in restaurants that were too fancy for my dad to go to, alone. And I don't remember the last time my dad took my mom on a date, nor bought her any jewelry. I also found a letter addressed to my dad from a woman who stated how tired she was for hiding this relationship for so long, and how she's so desperate for his letters to reach her. When my dad noticed the mailbox was empty, my dad ran back in the house as white as a ghost. He walked into the kitchen to see me and my mom in the kitchen reading his mail. Before the fighting could start, my mom asked me to leave the house. So I drove to my aunt's, who lives 45 minutes away, and explained everything. I came back after 2 days when my dad's stuff was gone. My mom told me my dad's living in a hotel and she'll be in contact with a divorce attorney. Turns out my dad has been having an affair with a family friend and we're hiding it through letters to leave no digital footprint. My dad ended up showing my mom the stash of letters he had, and she took photos of each and every single letter before she asked him to leave. I feel at fault because I at first wanted to be petty with my dad, but it unraveled into this huge event and made me think, No wonder he's been looking through my shit. He was giving himself away. I feel like I shattered my mom's world since I can hear her cry every night about it since the incident. First update, posted as an edit on the original post. Thank you all so much. I wrote this all out last night, drunk off my mind, and I never expected this much kindness from strangers. That explains why instead of ghost, he wrote host. I'll go ahead and answer a few questions here and then give an update. 1. Was my dad using my money from the gifts to buy stuff for his mistress? I'm 50-50 on this answer. I received cards when I was young with money, and it was the same routine. Aunts and uncles would leave $100 per card, and my dad always gave them to me when I was younger. As I got older, obviously the money reduced to $20 to $40. I do believe my dad would give me back half my money in those cards, which would make sense as to how he was able to make such huge expenses on his mistress. I need to collect proper evidence, so I plan on calling my aunts and uncles and other relatives who would send me money. 2. The mistress would send letters addressed as a business or a credit card company. If you ask me, they were doing the most. When my mom would check the mail, she would see the letters that were addressed to my dad as bills or some crazy bullshit and never open them because she doesn't handle the bills. A lot of packages were sent by the mistress as well, which is why he went through my packages, and I don't want to imagine what kind of crap she was mailing him. Now, for the update. Like I said before, it's been a few weeks since it happened. I've been doing my best to comfort my mother while she deals with all the legal business and my dad's constant appeals to my mom to apologize and beg for forgiveness. I've been here to listen to her, and she keeps spiraling between wanting to forgive him and cursing him to hell. I told her my own personal opinion, which was to never take back a cheater. She did basically everything for him, and she didn't see it as her not being enough for him. That's his fault for not appreciating her. The mistress also was a married woman. My mom reached out to her husband, sending him the letters she had taken photos of, even had a long phone call with him about what was going on. He initiated the divorce, and the mistress is now angry at my father for not being more careful. The mistress's ex-husband, who I'll call Henry, has been a best friend of my mom's throughout the legal cases. I hear the mistress is still reaching out to forgive him, which I honestly think is very funny since my dad is doing the same thing. She was financially dependent on Henry, and my dad isn't making enough at his job to support the lifestyle she wants. Yesterday, Henry asked my mom to come out to lunch with him. They've been sad shut-ins for the past few days, and they agreed to go and get some fresh air. I encouraged my mom to do such and to call me if my dad or the mistress decide to show face when they went, just so I could pick her up. My dad hasn't apologized to me at all about reading my mail. In fact, he's called me and left me voicemails telling me that this whole situation was my fault. Then going and crying, saying he regrets everything and he hopes he can still be my dad. I honestly don't know what to do with him right now other than ignore him. I don't know if there'll be another update, but I will if something major happens. Again, thank you so much for the supportive comments, and I hope some of what I said clears things up for you all. Second update, posted July 6th, 2024. Hey guys, it's been a full year since it happened, and I wanted to update you guys. A few months after the post, my mom grabbed me and my younger sister, 20 female, Rachel, to talk about her interest in possibly going on a date with Henry. Obviously, we were thrilled. They've been dating for almost a year now, and I'm happy for them. Henry treats my mother with way more respect than what my father ever did for her. She glows with joy when he's around. Our biological father was putting more mental strain on her than we thought. She went from being a shy, soft-spoken person to a strong, confident woman, and I couldn't be happier. As for our father, Jerry, and his mistress, Martha, they got married immediately after my mother, I'll call her Reagan, and Henry. I didn't speak to Jerry other than the occasional text from him asking about how I was doing or to ask me for some cash. After they got married, neither of their families supported the marriage. They got black-sheeped, respectfully. They tried to sue for cash, but the case fell through in Reagan and Henry's favor. I stopped talking to him fully when he spent a month harassing my sister for cash, calling her repeatedly, texting her, showing up at her college, to the point where the dean had to get him escorted off the campus. That's when Mom got us a harassment protection order. So now, Jerry can only contact us when he wanted to meet with us, which was rare, or for medical emergency. My sister and I haven't heard from him since. That didn't stop Martha, though. Turns out the reason my dad was hounding for cash was because he got her pregnant. She wants expensive everything, and Jerry is pulling everything out of his butt to satisfy her. Martha ended up being the one harassing my sister until she ended up at our door, demanding to speak to Henry about how he left a poor pregnant lady with nothing. Henry is a man that takes no bullshit. He opened the door, looked Martha dead in the eyes, and told her, "Was it not cruel to cheat on your husband when he provided you with a mansion, designer bags, nice cars, trips, and all the love in the world? You have no right to call me cruel after everything you've used me for, and you're lucky I didn't demand any money back." He shut the door, and Martha ended up throwing a huge fit, even faked her water breaking with a water bottle. Police escorted her to the hospital, and luckily we were able to show them everything through our Ring doorbell. Thank you everyone for your support in my story. I hope none of you guys have to go through this mess like me. While it's not surprising, it's still really sad just how many parents steal from their kids when they get birthday or Christmas money. But one thing I do just want to stress is that, while driving to the post office is a pain, if you know your dad has a habit of opening confidential mail, you really should just be going through the pain of going to the P.O. box at that point in time. Like, if you're staying home to save money, but you have confidential mail coming in, you just gotta make choices sometimes. I mean, you could always see if you could maybe potentially follow through on the fact that your dad's committing a crime by opening your mail, but those kind of cases aren't normally prosecuted if it's family matter. But what he is doing is a federal crime. But also, you didn't ruin your parents' relationship because you read the mail. Your father ruined their relationship by cheating. And you just happened to discover the fact that he was cheating by reading the mail. And he was apparently dumb enough to hold on to the letters. I do wonder what motivated him to actually go through with sharing the content of the letters with his wife and letting her have access to that level of evidence. That seems kind of stupid. I'm also mad at OP for the spelling of Reagan. That was terrible. And resorting to, letters instead of email because they don't want to leave a digital footprint. Yes, let's just leave behind physical evidence instead of just making an anonymous email account that only you know the password to, that you sign out of every time you leave it. Even though it does have a bit of a fairy tale ending, I am more inclined to believe this being mostly true because of the fact that they waited a year to update and not a few months. And I could also 100% see OP's parents, if they're in the later Gen X, early boomer range, being like, well, I hear about this digital footprint thing, and I know it can be tracked, so we gotta play it safe. It also makes sense from a projection standpoint why we'd be checking the mail so feverishly, because if I'm hiding something using the mail, well, other people in my family might be too. And in the process, you were the architect of your own demise. Well, howdy there. Welcome to the outro. This is usually the time that I tell you to use code KEYZ at checkout with GamerSupps. Every purchase made, you get 10% off with it. And it supports the channel directly. And I mean directly. When you make a purchase, it directly supports me in that moment. It's pretty cool. Also, I'm looking at getting a fridge upgrade, so that's pretty exciting. I might have to do some DIY work to make the fridge box a little bigger. But hey, if that works out, that'd be pretty cool, right? New fridge for Oz, a new place for him to curl up and be cold in. That's what they're for, right?